Om. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we were discussing, Swami has introduced the concepts of karma and akarma, and Swami stated that the real jnani is actually one who sees karma in akarma and akarma in karma. He experiences both in all the activities. That's what we discussed last week. And we have gone on to, I think, read another set of paragraphs, which we did not discuss last week, but Swami is still continuing to talk about akarma. So I will ask the sisters to go ahead and read, and then we will continue. So.
You may ask how he is able to do that. Listen, he is ever content. The contented man is free. He does not depend upon others. He is unaffected by the feeling of agency. He is content with whatever happens to him, well or ill, for he is convinced that the Lord's will must prevail. His mind is unshaken and steady. He is ever jubilant. Want of contentment is a sign of the Ajnani. Those who give up the Purusharthas, goal of human life, and walk the path of sloth, how can they be said to be happy, whatever happens? Contentment is the treasure that is won by the jnani. It cannot be won by the ajnani, who piles one wish on another and builds one plan after another, who pines perpetually, worries himself, and sets his heart ablaze with greed. The jnani is not mastered by the dualities of joy and grief, victory and defeat, gain and loss. He is Dvandatira, beyond duality. He scorns hatred and never allows it to affect him. Both the Swarupa, form reality, and the Swabhava, essential quality of the Atma, guarantee that it is unaffected. It is Asanga, not the world. It is uninfluenced by anything that is not Atma. It has neither birth or death, hunger or thirst, grief nor delusion. Hunger and thirst are qualities of the prana, vital essence, breath. Birth and death are characteristic of the body. Grief and delusion are affections of the mind. So, Arjuna, do not assign any status for these. Know yourself as the Atma. Give up all delusion and become unattached. Be like the lotus leaf in the marshy lake of samsara. Change. Do not get smeared with the mud around you. That is the sign of asanga, in it, but yet outside it. Be like the lotus leaf, not like the porous blotting paper that gets tainted with whatever it comes in contact with.
Thank you, sister. So Swami is continuing to talk about how a jnani is able to do what he is doing, that is to be able to experience akarma and karma simultaneously. And then Swami is talking about contentment, which a jnani has and ajnani does not have. So I think maybe we'll just stick to the first paragraph, because the other paragraphs are going slightly different direction maybe. So why don't we talk about the first paragraph? I will open it up for any comments, any impressions from participants. Auntie Mani, Auntie, you didn't do the akarma part. Maybe you can
Yeah, I was not there last time. If anybody has explained it, or you can explain, and then further I can.
You can talk, Auntie. Then we will. I will be repeating myself.
No problem. It's good for everybody to understand. And moreover, it goes inside our brain. If it is, please go ahead.
Okay, I think from what I recollect, karma relates to everything in this world. Whatever is outwardly activity, it's all karma. But while we are active in this world, the Atman, which is the real us, is actually not engaged in anything. Though that is, once we are able to identify ourselves with the Atman, we will also be able to experience that akarma state of the Atman. And that's why Swami says a jnani who knows that he is the Atman, but he has put on a vesture for acting in this world. He lets this body and the mind function in the world as required in the situations in which it is placed.
Yeah.
However, the Atman, which is a witness, he will be able to experience that as well. Yeah. I think we discussed, I think the example I gave was, it's like an actor who is on the stage, always aware that he is different from, he or she is different from the role which they're playing on the stage.
Yeah.
Even though the role plays what it reads the script, or it mouths what the script is, and engages in the actions which that role requires, the person who is playing that role knows that he is just playing a role and he is different from that. And because of that, he doesn't really attach himself to the actions of the role, except the fact that the role has to be played.
Yeah.
And so if we can have that awareness that we are the Atman while being active in this world, we'll be able to act in the world, be active in the world, and at the same time be a witness because of identification with the Atman. I think this is roughly what we discussed, as I remember. So, Auntie, if you want to add anything based on what you read in Telugu.
Did we discuss about Vikarma? Vikarma? No.
Yeah, Vikarma we discussed, that was, I think, previous, earlier Swami said people think of Vikarma, which is, it takes you to an Atma Jnana or something like that. But Swami then comes down to only akarma and karma he talks about.
No, what I have gathered is Vikarma is Nisheda Karma. Forbidden work is called Nisheda Vikarma. That's what I have also come across.
Forbidden?
Swami didn't say that, I think. But I have read it in the other books as Vishesh, the karma which one doesn't do it with any good intention, not that. He is forbidden. Nisheda karma is Vikarma.
Oh, I see. I did that. Swami gives, I think, if Kalyani can go back to the previous slides.
No, what I have understood is, okay, let's go. Let us go to Swami's this thing. Akarma means actionlessness, that is it. Dana or Vikarmas.
So that's the one.
Karma done intent. With intent, that may be good intention or bad intention, both.
Yeah, Swami says they take it that Swadharma is karma, and that all karma done not as dharma, but with view to earn Atma Jnana are Vikarmas.
Oh, it's totally different. What?
Yes.
In some books, what I have read is Vikarma is Nisheda Karma. Forbidden karma is called Vikarma. But here Swami is giving a new meaning to it, saying that
yes.
Yeah, karma done with intent is Vikarma.
Auntie, can you read the Telugu for this part?
Yeah. 1 minute. Which?
Auntie, it's page 69, Auntie.
In the Telugu lala? Okay. Pari. 69. Okay. E karma akarmala vishayamanu arthamanu that is where it's said, is it?
Just the previous paragraph, you say, Bhavan.
గుణకర్మ విభాగం బట్టి 4 వర్ణములు. That's of course.
No, bhava.
భావ ఎంగేది
ఈ కర్మకు just the 2 lines before that, auntie.
భావ నీవును అటులనే తలంచి కర్మలు చేయుము, అట్లు చేసి నీకు తప్పక చిత్త శుద్ధి కలుగును. No, it's not it.
Okay, then the next one only. Then in the next one.
Yeah. ఈ కర్మ అకర్మల విషయమును అర్థము కాని ఆవేదనతో అనేక మంది తికమొక్కలు వదుచున్నారు. దీని సత్యము అందరికీ అంత సులభముగా బోధపడదు. స్వధర్మములే కర్మలు. స్వధర్మ ఇస్ కర్మ. ఆత్మజ్ఞానముతో చేయు కర్మలు వికర్మలను తలుంతురు. They think that it's వికర్మ. బట్ ఏ కర్మలైనను సరే అజ్ఞానముతో చేసిన కర్మకు ఎంత శ్రమ పడినా అది క్లేశమును కలిగించును, కానీ శాంతిని చేకూర్చదు. కర్మయందు అకర్మను, అకర్మయందు కర్మను చూచుటే బుద్ధివంతుడైన మానవుని లక్షణం. Here goes Swami is going action and action, inaction. Sorry. Okay. I think
so Swami's definition of vikarma is slightly different, auntie.
So what Auntie read was similar, same as what's in English, right?
Actually, it's slightly different because Swami is saying Atma Jnanamuto cheyu karmalu. That means with Atma Jnana, if you are performing karma, that is called vikarma. I will just ask auntie. Auntie, you are muted.
Yeah, cholungo.
See, Atma Jnanamuto cheyu karmalu vikarmalaniyu.
Karmalaniyu.
So what it means is whatever karmas you do with Atma Jnana, isn't it?
Adi sari. Our Swami is not sure. Talanturu. Some people think.
They think, yes.
Think that Atma Jnana, with Atma Jnana, if you do some karma, that is vikarma. People say that. But Swami is not approving
Swami
it.
is not approving it. Swami is saying that's the way people think.
People think. That's where
because he has already said Tikamakla means they are confused.
They're confused. So what Swami is not know also the distinction between karma, vikarma. Karma done with intent and akarma, desireless action.
Yes.
Done with the attitude of witness. I shall tell you the main. I don't know. Swami is not going into vikarma in detail.
No, he has dismissed actually vikarma.
He has dismissed.
He's just talking about akarma and karma.
Yeah. You know, the one book referred to as Swami Chinmayananda's, he says, see, life is activity, inactivity. Inactivity, what we have got, karma, vikarma. Actions to be done, vikarma, actions to be avoided. Among the karmas, nitya karma, naimitya karma, that will come later on. That's what
so see, what he's referring to are called nishiddha karmas, which is taboo. You know what, the karmas which are prohibited.
Yeah, prohibited actions. Anyway, let us not go into this.
Exactly. That's another layer of confusion.
Let's go to this term. So what see, inaction, inaction, action, inaction. Did you already covered it, I think?
Yes.
Already covered. Okay. Yeah. Sairam, Solomon.
Yeah.
Kalyani has a question.
That's okay. I will.
Last 2 sentences. Man has to win karma in akarma. That's understood. And akarma through karma, what does that mean?
Okay. That's your question is correct. So, in what way have you understood karma in akarma? There's action in inaction.
Action in inaction.
Now the next one is inaction in action.
Inaction.
Arun, can I go ahead with
yes, Auntie, please go ahead.
Okay. So supposing a person is very intensely busy serving others, for example, some Swamis, a volunteer in Swami organization, he is serving very, very intensely to all the people, whatever. But in his mind, he is not thinking that he is doing it. He is separating himself from the action, and he is an observer. He thinks his own action being observed by him. Then it is called inaction in action.
Inaction in action.
Am I clear to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Intense activity is going on. Intense activity is going on outside.
Yeah.
Somebody is doing. But at his heart, he is not at all taking credit to it that I am doing. No. He is separating himself from the action. And he is like an observer. He is like an observer. So then he becomes karma through akarma.
Okay.
Akarma through karma, sorry.
Yeah, akarma through karma. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Arun?
Yeah, I think in the Telugu, I think the translation is slightly different because Swami says Jnani will be able to see karma in akarma and akarma in karma.
Karma, that's it. Yeah.
But the translation says win karma in, that confuses everything. So Swami says Jnani always sees karma in akarma and akarma in karma.
Yeah, and moreover, it's the highest state of sattvic mood when you can detach yourself from the karma, and then you are observing your own self karma. That is a intense sattvic state, a steady state where you can do that. But we have the capacity. All human beings have that capacity to detach themselves from the action and be aloof from the action. We have that capacity, but we don't use it. We always identify ourselves with the body and says, I am doing it. I am doing it. That is the abhimana. That is the abhimanam, what we say in Sanskrit. And in that also we use it, abhimanam. Abhimanam comes there. So we always think, I am doing it, I am doing it.
Yeah.
But a person who is a realized person, who is not at all under the influence of this ignorance, avidya, he is able to detach himself from the action, and he can observe that I am not the doer. Somebody is making me do that. That is akarma through karma. Okay, Sairam.
Yes, Kalyani.
Just a quick clarification about the vikarma, because in the English it said when you are doing an action with a view to earn atmajnana, people think that that is vikarma, but in the Telugu they're saying when you do an action with atmajnana.
Yes.
So if you are doing an action with atmajnana, then isn't that just akarma? You're already there, like if you have atmajnana?
See, that's why Swami says, when you are with Atmajnana, you are not engaging in karma. That's why he says it's akarma.
Okay.
If you have Atmajnana and functioning, you can't see, people are not sure what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma. Swami is, I think, saying akarma is in the state of Atman. When the Atman is present, it is only present as akarma. So that is Atmajnana. So, but the thing is, when you are doing an Atman with Atmajnana, there's akarma present. At the same time, the body and the mind may be active in the world, which is karma. Swami is classifying that as karma. Okay, so Swami is not giving that slightly different vikarma state.
No.
Okay.
He is just separating both. That's what I would understand.
Excuse me, Sairam.
Yes, Auntie.
Here it's clearly mentioned karma done with intent. That becomes vikarma, Swami is saying.
That's in English, Auntie.
English translation. But in Telugu, Swami is not at all going into vikarma at all. Yes. People think, that's what talanturu. People think like that. That, Atmagnanamto cheyu karmalon vikarmalaniyo talanturu. That is the sentence. So that means people think that they are doing with Atmagnana some work. It's vikarma. No, Swami is saying, if any work, any karma is done with the Atma Gnana, that becomes akarma, isn't it?
Akarma.
Akarma.
Okay. And so karma, because Swami's always saying the two, karma and akarma and karma, but they're both describing the same state. Is it right?
No, because see, I think karma, when a person is engaged in the world, there's karma going on, whether you like it or not, whether you are a jnani or not, that is karma, action in the world. But the Atman is never engaged in action. Okay, so the problem I think with all of us is we do not recognize the Atmic state. So we are fully engrossed in the karma and we identify ourselves as the doer of that karma.
Body.
Because we identify ourselves with the body. Once we identify with the body and you engage in karma, you have to face the consequences of that karma and you have to deal with it. Whereas a person who is detached from worldly actions and the worldly results, and he's engrossed in Atma with Atma Jnana, that person, even though he is acting in the world, he is actually not engaged in action. This is Swami has told in slightly different words: hands in the society, head in the forest.
Yeah.
So, which is basically your awareness is with the Atman, but the hands are busy in the society, which is what one is karma, one is akarma. Head in the forest is akarma, hands in the society is karma.
Right.
Both go run in parallel.
If we look at this sentence like karma in akarma, is that describing the state where the person is established in the Atma and doing work?
The person who, what is it, repeat?
So I'm just confused about like, okay, because when you just look at it grammatically, karma in akarma and akarma in karma, it just like, they just seem similar to me. But so the state where you are in the consciousness of Atman, but you're doing karma, like which of those statements applies to that state?
So I think you're asking what is the difference between karma in akarma and akarma in karma?
Yeah, that's what she wants to know.
The way I understood, anyway, not necessarily it's right. For example, I think Sai Satish mentioned that, Swami is coming from somewhere else. He is always in akarma state, but then he sees action, he engages in action. Okay. Whereas we are engaged in action all the time, and we should be able to now go to the akarma state by identifying ourselves with Atma. So both are the same, but depends from where we are moving. Okay, so I think that was the point I think Sai Satish made last. Sai Satish,
Sai Ramana. That's perfectly correct. And I was just going to add to that. I was just going to say that when I say that I am the Atman who has a body, it is because body is associated with karma and Atman is associated with akarma. So I am the Atman who has a body. That means I am in akarma fully and I'm saying I have karma. So it is karma in akarma because I'm established in the Atman. I am completely in akarma and I am seeing that having that Atman, which is having the body outside. So I am established in that state. So I'm seeing karma happening in the state of akarma. But when I say I am the body who has a soul, so I am identifying myself as karma moving towards akarma because I'm saying I am a body having a soul. So it becomes akarma in karma because I'm saying I am the body, I am using karma as the ocean who has a soul. Then it becomes like akarma is part of that karma. We are of course trying to expand that karma and make it more of a karma. So it is the like, and I was saying the viewpoint, whether I am established, I am the soul. If I'm established strongly that I am the Atman and see the outer covering as the body, then I am established in a karma. I am looking at karma. So it is karma, which is in the whole framework of that akarma. karma becomes a subset of akarma. Whereas if I am the body who has a soul, then akarma becomes a subset of karma. I hope I haven't confused, Sairam.
Yes, no, that clarifies it a lot. And I guess that now I understand why it says akarma through karma. For in the English anyway, it says that. So that makes sense now. I understand.
Okay.
Okay, so I think now we can move to the slide and we'll continue. Okay, thank you. So now we will discuss the first paragraph. So Swami says, how is one able to do it? Okay, how to see karma and akarma and akarma and karma, and then Swami gives the secret, how to get to that point.
Okay.
And he says contentment is the key. So I will stop there and open it up for any comments, thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, Brother Tasam.
Yes, Sairam, brother. So here the first paragraph clearly mentioning the jnani is always content because he is happy always. Because the reason is karma in akarma and akarma through karma. For an example, we born in this world with the karma mala, say 5 feet. So that's called sanchita karma. So we have to face the karma, the prapta karma. Sometimes he may be a jnani, but he has to go through some difficulties, maybe have somebody or sickness or anything, or some other financial or anything. He has to face it because he doesn't have the body consciousness. He thinks he's in the akarma. Akarma means whatever he does, he's not expecting anything. He's not under the duality. So whatever the happiness or anything, we studied many times, the fruit, when we expect the fruit only, the problem is there in karma. If we don't accept the fruit, that is best thing we can explain, that is akarma. So when we are in the akarma state, that our mala is going to be reduced. Because one thing, we are not adding to the length, and because of the prapta karma, we are accepting, and it doesn't affect us. So when we are doing the work also, we think the Swami's work. We are not Swami is enjoying. Even though that kind of mentality, if we have that one, and even though Swami is not enjoying, but that kind of enjoyment, that kind of mentality we're supposed to have, that means we don't have the fruit with us. That is akarma. Akarma. That is my understanding, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Swami here is speaking about that kind of pandita who sees karma in action in inaction and inaction in action. He is a pandita. Swami calls him Mahanubhavudu Panditudu. ఇట్టి వ్యక్తి కర్మలు ఎందు ప్రవర్తించినప్పుడు అప్పటికి అట్టి కర్మల ఏమాత్రము బాధ్యుడు కాదు. He is a non-doer. He is not a doer at all. దానికి ఫలాపేక్ష ఉండదు. That's what he is a contented person. He is a nitya trupta. He calls him nitya trupta and nirashrita. He is not depending on anything. He is unaffected by the results of whatever karma he does. Such a person is always jubilant, always happy, always he is unshaken, he is steady. So it's because of the want of contentment that we become ajnanis. We don't have that kind of contentment, so we keep on desiring things so that we may one time may feel that we are happy. That happiness is evading for such a person. Sairam.
Sairam, Aunty, thank you. Any other thoughts?
Hi, Ram. The line about where Swami saying, those who give up the Purusharthas and walk the path of sloth, how can they be said to be happy? But shouldn't we give up Kama and Artha? Like, shouldn't those be ones that we do try to give up?
No. How can you give up your...
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't follow.
So Swami saying that we should give up, those who give up the Purusharthas can never be happy. But in terms of the 4 Purusharthas, Kama and Artha, shouldn't we try to give up desire and wealth?
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Maybe that's what Purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. If we give up and walk the path of sloth, how can they be said?
So I think the Kalyani's question is, Swami is asking us not to give up the Purusharthas, but shouldn't we give up Kama and Artha? That was a question. But that's okay. Sister Vijaya has put up her hand.
Sairam, I think what Swami really means here, Sister Kalyani, is that you can have Artha in the work of Dharma. So you're combining actually the 4 Purusharthas, Kama with Dharma, and Moksha for the desire, Kama.
No, Kama for Moksha.
Kama for Moksha.
Artha for Dharma.
Correct. Thank you. Then you're not giving up the 4 Purusharthas.
Not all.
Yeah, no, because in previous discussions in the same study circle, we talked about how you shouldn't desire anything, not even moksha. Like you should not desire for anything. That's why.
So as a very good question, Kalyan. The thing is, even for moksha, you should not have desire. I think that's what Swami had said. That's what you are referring to. And because Swami is calling it greed. See, the goals of life. See, Purushartha means the goal of life. Okay, having a desire is not necessarily, a goal. Okay, that's the question is, we should not have Kama. I think, see, what Swami has said is, Artha and Kama are needed in this world, because without that, the world will not function. Okay, Artha and Kama, a goal is needed. But the thing is, the boundaries for those should be one side moksha, other side dharma. Dharma and moksha are the 2 banks within which the Kama and Artha can function. They should not stand independent of these 2. Okay, so it is like, you experience life in some extent, but that should not become the goal. I think that's where, the desire should not be the end goal. We have this desire, that desire, but Kama is needed. Even a slight wish that we should reach moksha is needed for even us to take up sadhana. Otherwise, we will not be even sitting here and reading. If not for that inclination, we will not be here. So that's why Swami always said ceiling on desire. Swami never said remove all desires, and he will say less luggage, more comfort. So you have to have luggage when you are going on a trip. If you don't have luggage, you will run into problem. You have to take something, but that should be limited. So as long as the body is there, just for the upkeep of the body, that itself is an intent, isn't it? It's a desire to keep the body well, healthy. I think that's my understanding. That's why Swami is differentiating greed and the Purushartha Kama. Okay, that's my understanding. Others, I will open it up for others to also share.
Sai Ram, I don't know. I couldn't get it. Can you please repeat it?
I think maybe I've tried all my ability to communicate and I failed, I think. Maybe somebody else should paraphrase, but I will try again. See, Auntie, the thing is, in this world, for us to live, Kama and Artha are needed. Because without money, nothing can be done in this world. And Kama or desire or wish is also needed for us to get up and do some activity. So the thing is, God has given that, but the thing is that should be kept under limit. And it should be used only to attain moksha. Any desire we have should be directed towards attaining moksha. And any money we have should be acquired through dharma and should be spent on dharma. So the thing is, because of that, God has created and we should use them in conjunction with dharma and moksha, the kama. But if any of this, either artha, accumulation of wealth, or desires run wild, without any discipline, without any control, then it becomes greed, and that is not good. I think that's what Swami is trying to separate. The thing is, a person, when we are lazy, that means we don't even have any desire to achieve anything. Swami says that is bad. So I think that's my understanding. I hope I made some sense. If not, I think somebody else has to attempt.
No, that's a
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. Very, very clear. Thank you.
Very.
Okay, Sai.
The human life is given for you to achieve something. So giving up is not right. So that's how I look at it. Thank you, Sai.
Sai Ram, Sister Sai.
And, Sairam. So the ultimate desire is to become desireless. So while keeping that ultimate desire of becoming desireless in mind, we have whatever activities we do, whether it is tamasic or rajasic or sattva, we keep transitioning from the desires. So from going from the desire for the world to desire for God, we keep transitioning to ultimately being desireless. But then even we need to start somewhere. So we have the iron chain that binds us, we have the silver chain that binds us, we have the gold chain that binds us, but ultimately we have to become chain free. So we will have to transition from that kind of a desire that strongly binds us to the world, and letting go of that desire to strongly bind to the world, we pray to the Lord. And so we have to detach ourselves from the world, attach ourselves to God. But in that process of attaching, as we go along that process of being strongly in God, finally it has to become or come to that stage of being desireless. So we'll have to go through primary school, secondary school, then come to institute, and then like final graduation. So at that level of graduation, liberation gets conferred. So though we cannot earn it, it has to get conferred. So that process, we become desireless, and at that stage it is simultaneously conferred, kind of a thing. So keeping in mind that the ultimate desire is to become desireless, we keep working towards, and ultimately we become desireless, something of that kind. Thank you, Saira.
Yes. That's like using a thorn to remove another thorn, and then both are discarded.
So that is Sairam. So desire towards spirituality and desireless towards worldly, towards the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, okay. I think we have reasonably covered the first paragraph.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to the second one? Swami is talking about dvandadita, dvandadita or dvandvadita.
Dvandvatita.
Yes. So, but I think in English they have written dvanda atita. Dvandvatita. So I think in the Kalyani, if you are taking notes, V should be added to the D, next to the D. Dvandva. So Swami is talking about the sthita prajna, one who is not affected by the dualities of life, joy and grief, victory and grief. And Swami is talking about hunger and thirst and Swami, and grief and delusion, the two issues which the physical body and the mental body deal with. So I will just thought I would point out. We can discuss. I will open it up for comments. Saira.
Sairam, I have a question in the very first sentence in the second paragraph. The jnani is not mastered by the dualities of joy and grief, victory and defeat, and the gain and the loss. Why Swami put the word mastered? A person, Yidi, who is designated as a jnani, to master, I thought jnani is not affected by the dualities, but here that the word has been used as mastered, is it the correct word, or maybe in Telugu version, Swami,
Yeah.
what kind of wordings, Swami?
Yeah. 1 minute. పెత్తనము చేలాయించో సుఖదుఖములు జయాపజయములు లాభ నష్టముల నడి ద్వంద్వములు ప్రభావములు జ్ఞానుల యందు ఏ మాత్రము పై పెత్తనము he says Arun, that's mass పెత్తనము చే.
Yeah, I think so.
That సుఖదుఖములు, the third paragraph in Telugu.
The last word, no? Last paragraph, is it?
No.
Which page, Auntie?
72.
Oh, 72.
Ama.
I think our books are slightly different, so that's the reason.
Did we say about plan that Swami is saying?
It's Prayanikulu.
Paricha prarabdhamunu. No, it's not. You ask me how he is able to do it. He is ever content. That's what that paragraph we read.
So Swami says vikarma akarmalaniyu. Then Swami says vitine sulabhamuga arthamu unatlu. చెప్పవలనను దేహము ఇంద్రియములు ప్రాణము బుద్ధి మనస్సులు యొక్క Swami is talking.
Which paragraph are you on?
I don't know. In the paragraph E karma, I'm looking at the last part of it.
Really, I could not find out what it is about.
Yeah, there was some.
He is ever content, actually, yeah, that we have done.
The next paragraph.
Yeah, the next paragraph, after he is.
Yeah. The problem is, there's a bit of a disconnect between the Telugu version and the.
That's all. He does not depend upon the others that we have discussed. అనుకూల ప్రతికూల పదార్థములందు రాగద్వేషములు లేక సదా తృప్తిగా ఉండును, ఇతడిని ఎదృచ్ఛా లాభ సంతుష్టుడని కూడాను అందరు. It's not written here. పురుషార్థ, it goes to పురుషార్థం పూర్తిగా మాని సోమరి ఎదృచ్ఛా లాభ సంతుష్టుడు. It's not at all.
Which paragraph, Auntie?
The second paragraph on 72 page. Telugu.
How does it start with?
పురుషార్థమును పూర్తిగా మాని. That's what he is giving up. That giving up పురుషార్థం.
Which chapter is this, Auntie?
Number 10 in Telugu.
Oh, I see. You're going to 10.
10th chapter.
Okay. Okay. Sukhabhuma jaya jayabhum.
That's what. ద్వంద్వముల ప్రభావములు జ్ఞానుల యందు ఏ మాత్రము పెత్తనము చేలాయించవు. They can't master them. That's all.
I think that is.
It is wrong. Dualities cannot master the gnani. The gnani is not mastered by dualities. That's what is written here.
So I think so. To answer this question is, why did Swami use the word master?
Master, yeah.
Okay.
Should it be unaffected?
No, that means he does not become a slave for the
Yeah,
duality.
unaffected.
Yes.
He what is it? Bossing over.
Bossing over.
Pettanam means bossing over. So dualities cannot boss over the Gnani. That's the meaning there. I hope it is clear to you, Sister Anandi.
Originally, I thought maybe the Swami, the Jnani is not affected, but now I understand that maybe the dualities, joy or grief, or in the twins, the dualities, it wouldn't bossing around the Jnani in his or her thoughts, words, and deeds.
Correct.
Yeah, the Jnani will make his atmic decisions without affected by all these dualities. Now, the clearer than before I thought. Originally, I thought maybe Jnani is not affected. Maybe that would be much more clearer than mastered by the dualities. But now I understand that maybe Swami put both together. They both make the word together as mastered.
Yeah.
Just one thing, Auntie. Dvandvam is also used for wrestling, right? Dvandva yuddham is there, right? Auntie, am I correct? Is Dvandvam also referring to wrestling?
When two people are fighting, it's called Dvandva Yuddha.
So that's what. So in that context, I'm just trying to see Dvandva Titam also applying to the fact of how they do not get caught in the wrestling of these thoughts in their means. I'm just trying to apply a layered meaning to that, Auntie, in the sense that because it is joy and sorrow, hunger and thirst, pain and suffering, all that kind of thing that we always opposites that everybody needs to wrestle with. So if you go beyond Dvandva Titam, going beyond that struggle, going beyond that wrestling, going beyond, then literally we, by being in that like akarma kind of this thing, when we are established in that Atman, then we remain unaffected. So I thought we could take that symbolism and apply it to who, while they say remaining totally unaffected, being beyond that kind of a wrestling that any mortal will experience. Right.
Yeah, Sai Ram, what brother said, while you were saying, how I am interpreting is, you only mastered when that there is a room for you to control. Okay, I understand this is grief. Okay, I understand, but I need to control. But Jnani is, the Jnani doesn't see differentiation. Then only you will master it. But when everything is one, then there is no question of mastering. Mastering is that you have power to control your thinking. But when Jnani is beyond that duality, doesn't see any difference in opposite grief and victory, and that's how I understood. But adding to all the discussion,
Equanimity is maintained by him.
Yes.
Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yeah, so Sairam, brother. So can we take like this? Ajnani is mastered with the dualities. The Jnani is not mastered. So the Jnani is look like a lotus leaf because he's not attached. It doesn't affect anything. But Ajnani, Swami saying, is like a cardboard. Once we put it in the cardboard, into the mud thing, and it's going to absorb everything. Eventually, it will go down. So, like Ajnanis, because of their dualities, they are attached to everything. Eventually, they are affected with the karma. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, Brother Sairam. Yes, Sister Vijaya.
This is an interesting line. Thank you, Sister Ananti, for bringing that question. Because when you look at daily life, a Vaishya, for example, somebody who's in business or doing anything, they are going for profit. They're going for victory. They're trying to, answer payroll, pay their workers and employees. So what Swami is saying here is to do your dharma, from what I understand, do your dharma, but without attachment to the outcome. But it's very difficult because, when you're a business owner and you have people working under you, you are responsible also for their livelihood. And if you don't have that, I need to gain, I cannot be all the time losing things, then I cannot pay my payroll for my employees. But to take on that grief and that defeat with equanimity, that you're not the doer, but Swami is the doer. And yet the responsibility is on your head also. Sai Ram, thank you.
Sai Ram, sister. So sister has asked a question. How do we apply in practical life? If we are not affected by the dualities, we will not engage in action. So you have to pursue something, but at the same time not be affected. So what do? We attempt, a businessman is doing some business and he lost money. What should he do when he has lost money? I think when they gain money, everyone is happy. But when he has lost money, what is he supposed to do? I think that's the question. Maybe I will open it up for participants to share their thoughts.
Sai Ram, if you keep God as your guidance, then He is the one who is responsible to get the business going. He is the one who is going to take care of the workers there. Everything He will take care. So the surrender and accept God's will as his own. Otherwise, he is still taking the responsibility attached to his body. This is what I believe. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Auntie, Sai Ram. Anyone else?
Yes. Sai Ram, that is the excellent practical question. I would say that a lot of non-profit organizations, their purpose of establishing the entity is just to serve the world in one way or another. But most of the non-profit organizations, they really suffer without having enough funding or the money to have a good the operation to achieve their mission or vision. But if the person, maybe the founder or maybe the committee, if they are having the inaction in action, or maybe even if they think that whatever it comes, it's all in God's hand, and how they would make it to proceed that their functionality to the world, that's a really good question. I don't have any solution or anything, but the world is currently facing that sort of problem. Lots of good, the organizations, they are really suffering. Either everything is in God's hand. We don't know why these organizations are suffering. Their internal motive, is it wrong? Or maybe I don't know how to explain that one, but lots of non-profit organizations, they are really suffering. But can we take that as everything is God's will, but we cannot do anything for that?
Sai Ram. Sorry, I think I have one, Sister Vijaya's question made me think of something else as well. Maybe I'm adding more confusion to the questions that are out there. The last line where it says, Anyani who piles one wish on another and builds one plan after another. So going in lines with Sister Vijaya's question, let's say if you're a founder, owner of a company, as a CEO, you'll always think, what is the next plan? How do I bring this company to the next level? So, you cannot be content with one achievement, right? You plan for the next step, or how do we bring it bigger or better? So how does that fall? Is like, how do one do that if you are in that state? Just thinking out loud, is that correct? Or is that person be content with what it is? Sorry, I may have added a bit more to it.
Okay, sister. There are questions piling up, actually, one after the other. But anyone has some thoughts to share, please?
In the first paragraph, there was a sentence said, Swami, the person will be convinced, if it's a jnani, he will be convinced all Lord's will. And he prevails, and he will take that as a motive and do the right thing again. That's how we will move on. Thanks.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Sister Vijaya, please.
Sarah, I really asked that question because I faced it and don't know if what I did was right, but and this was years and years ago, but what we are reading about the Varna system is, our roles. We have to do it with Dharma. I'm not sure I shared this, but, it's offered a lot of money by a very big drink organization. They wanted my dietary supplement, the product. They really liked it. And after almost a year of discussion, they were going to use bad ingredients that were going to affect the health of people. And they had told me initially they're not going to do it, but it was at an expense of a lot of money. And I had to pull out. I said, no, we don't want this deal, because there was no dharma in it. So the ultimate line, and in the end, I had to close that progression of that product out in the markets all over the world, while looking for an investor with the right values. So it is a very practical question that, if you don't know your dharma, yes, right now the world we are seeing, how corruption is there, profiteering, greed, but being a Sai devotee, it's important to do the dharma. Although my team said, Vijay, you can sell this product that they want, because these are big, giant companies. And it's not just one company. I went through 3 or 4 companies. Swami made me do that. Each one of them was a dharma practice. But in return, they'll give you lots and lots of money. You can go forward, like Sister, I think Kalyani said, Sister Nirmada said, yeah, you can go forward, but it is done in a dharmic fashion. And if one action is adharmic, everything is adharmic. And it was a very difficult decision at that time. But after 4 times, 4 big companies came after the same product, I realized that, Swami's will is that this is only a test. It's got nothing, as a business owner, you're so consumed with, I have to take care of this and that. But in the larger meaning, Swami is showing the path that you have to stick to Dharma. And it is not an easy path, but I think sticking with him, I can sleep at night better. Sai Ram, thank you.
Sai Ram, sister. So anyone has some thoughts to share? We have a few questions.
Sai Ram, I'm just kind of reminded, I think it was in this study circle or Sandhe Nivarni, where we read about, keeping in mind that he's a creator. So whenever we are doing the action, again, there's so many factors. What we have learned is all loop into when we do business, when we're looking after other people if we are in that position, or non-profit funding is not there. The focus is, we don't know the end result. We don't know what is the future. The only thing which I have in hand is my action, karma. The only thing is I can control is my karma. Understanding this is all drama creator, and I just have to walk on that path. I can't sit back and say, I can't do, nothing is in my control. So as Auntie said, that are we doing a dharmic way, a dharmic way? So that is one part of it, and continue. And maybe there will be employees, and in large or big employees, sometimes, the action you do, it doesn't consent with employee values, because company value and employee values are different. People might leave you. If you're in dharmic, but they want to prosper and they don't see that you're taking them in that path, they might leave you. So be it. But are we big, strong enough to understand this is all drama? I am not in this. It's as a part of me, I'm just going to do action. Second thing is that Sister Narmada said that progressing and improving your business, isn't it? That's a desire. And my belief is it's a desire, but what is the intention behind it? That matters a lot. Why are you progressing? Because of we have to progress. Are we saving the environment with that progress? Are we moving forward using the technology but not behind? Because Swami has given us this buddhi and this all of that. We are, have all those senses. How best we can utilize to that fullest potential and improve. But what is the intention behind making that progress and improving? To me, I think that matters a lot. Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Any other thoughts, please?
Yes, Sairama. So there was a study of all the top CEOs of different companies, and they have found that those CEOs who continue to remain at the helm of affairs always have been those who have accepted failures and moved on. So it is more like, and whatever we have been reading in earlier chapters also. So always it is about the actions are not abandoned. It's only the fruits of the actions that are abandoned, in the sense that karma tyaga is not told, not the giving up of actions, but karma phala tyaga is told. So when a loss happens, if the person is ready to look at what the loss has taught them and go beyond that and apply those learnings for future steps that needs to be taken and go through that learning curve,
Absolutely.
yeah, with that acceptance, then I think it changes the way that they come out of it, because they have benefited, and that's what becomes part of the person's experience, and they grow out of it. The other is to take it as a loss and get so caught up that I have suffered a loss, that it hits a mental makeup so much that the road ahead is forgotten and we just get caught in the shell. So it's the choice of that individual at that point as to what learning that they can imbibe out of it and go forward. And at no point in time action is abandoned. Every time the expectation or outcome of that action is given up. So that way we are in the moment and working continuously towards it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sai.
Can I give a quick practical example? Just a quick, it's happened.
Yes, sister.
One of our friend, he was getting his home renovated and all of those things. And the other day he was sharing with my husband that, a contractor, how they are, cheating. And he basically lost 50 to 60,000 K. And the way he was talking, I'm telling you, it's just sometimes you admire people, the way they think. And my husband said, did you do this? And they were having a conversation. At the end, he said, yes, there is a lesson for me, as Brother Sai Satish said. There is a lesson for me to learn, though I did my due diligence to know the contractor, but maybe it's supposed to go from me. But now I have to look, what is my next step? Can I take some action against him? I mean, it's a big money to me, maybe not for many of you, but 60K losing within 2 weeks, just gone like that, and realized that contractor doesn't exist, his company, he did whatever he's supposed to do. And the way, very with full, like, without any emotions, he said, maybe it's supposed to happen. I can't look back, but it's the next chapter for me and I have to move forward. So this is something practically happened with people, and that's something we have to learn.
Thank you very much, sister. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. If we take a small businessman, whenever we do the business, we have to know not 100% everyone's going to get a profit. It's up and down. So, but before doing anything, you have to understand what is the human life is awakening of its original nature that is part of the divine consciousness. So face your misfortune, boldly and courageously. Once the misfortune leaves, it will give you good lessons and God's blessing too. Then you can gain whatever you lost and everything. So our life is up and down always. So do not act like a coward. So be courageously, face the difficulties. And you have to think, maybe it's my karma. I have to go through that one. Some people might suicide. Even if you suicide, you have to born again, you have to continue with the same karma again. So better to face it. This is my understanding, brother. Thank you.
Sairam, brother. Sairam, thank you.
Sairam, uncle.
Yes, Sairam.
No, I guess just for Sister Narmata had mentioned, if you are always content, then how can you look forward to growing a business or an organization? So I was just thinking about how Swami grew an organization from nothing to like a worldwide organization. And I don't think Swami was ever discontent. So it just made me think that, oh, like Swami was always content, but yet he grew this organization. So I guess the only motive that Swami would have had was for like the welfare of the world. And so I guess if we are trying to grow an organization or a business, then we can do that. We can be content and grow it. But I guess then our motive would have to be like for the betterment of the whole world and not just ourselves.
Thank you, Kalyan. Anyone else has something to say?
Sairam, brother, one little comment to I would think that it's kind of asking for a technique or something how to, I would say myself, I cannot say other people. Swami says that we like the lotus leaf in the marshy lake of samsara. Once we get into samsara, certainly we get smeared with the mud around us. And how to be a lotus leaf without attaching I would say myself, I am a blotting paper, and how to move from the blotting paper stage to the lotus leaf without affecting anything, just get into the marshy lake of samsara, how to raise myself above the lake and survive.
Brother,
Yes, sister.
Sairam, just for Kalyani's question about the Swami's organization, it's not an organization. We just looking at not a worldly kind of organization. If Swami want to spread his message, that's was just a formed spiritual way of, like I said, is a tool, is a channel. That's how I would look at it, and not as an organization. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. Any other?
So,
Yes.
Sairam, brother, sister, on these questions, so that's what Swami said, karma in akarma and akarma through karma. If you are not attached to anything, if you don't take that attachment only, you're going to absorb and you're going to drown. If you are not attached to anything, then you're going to be like a lotus leaf. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, brother. Anyone has something? So maybe I will just go at, I will start with Sister Ananti's question. I think the answer of how we become a lotus leaf is in the sentence itself. Swami says, be like the lotus leaf, not like the porous blotting paper. Porous means they are openings which absorbs. The senses are the openings through which we become the blotting paper. We shut all those apertures, close the eyes, close the ears, close the nose, close the mouth. We will not be blotting paper because nothing of the world will enter into us. So I think the answer is there. That's why sense control is number one. And Swami, Swami leaves the cues in the sentences for us. If there are questions, they give us the answer there itself. Everyone is worried, how to engage in action. See, I think one of the reasons which we all fall into this problem of grief, joy, victory, defeat, gain, loss is because there are fundamental problems with the way assumptions with which we start functioning. We think anything which we do and achieve is because of us. That is a doership. If not for us, nothing in this world will happen. We don't even realize the insignificance of each of us in this world as a body. The body which we have is so insignificant, cannot achieve anything. It depends on the rest of the world to achieve anything. But we still think that we are the doer. And we carry the burden of this world on our head. It's like somebody sitting in the train and carrying the train itself. We should not even carry our luggage when we are in the train. So I think we think because of us, things happen. I think once we get rid of that, most of the problem will go away. The second thing is we evaluate all of our actions by the end result, either profit or we achieved what we wanted to do. I think that's another way we measure our activity. Rather, we should not, because the result can be either way. It can be a gain or a loss. For example, if you're running a 100-meter race, we can run. If you're thinking I should win, it should not be the goal. Am I running well? Am I not making any mistakes while running? Am I running as fast as I can? Those should be the measures of a person who is doing in this world. Even though you may have run fast as you can, you may not win the gold. Doesn't matter. Did you run? The end of story. Then you move on to the next race. But people don't think about that. They think about the end goal. Did I get the gold medal? Did I stand up on the podium? That's the way everyone is conditioned to think in this world. So the thing is, any activity we take up, we should joyfully take it up because God has given us the skill. It seems to be the best thing to do. If whatever we do will definitely go to benefit the world. But the result is different. Then at that point, then we should think God must be having some reason. But none of our effort has actually gone waste. See, the whole problem is any activity which we undertake is never lost in this world. But when the result will come, we don't know. For example, you can plant a seed and you can pour water and water and water and put manure. Will it grow? It has to grow one day. It may not grow in one day. It may not grow in 1 month. Some trees, sprouting takes forever. But sometimes we are impatient. So I think if we give up that thinking that because of me, this world is running. Number one. Number two, I should not measure my activity with some result, but how I do the action. Number two. Number three, whatever happens, God is taking care of. Whatever I have done never goes waste in this world. Every action of us, if not for benefiting us, it will benefit the world if it is well intentioned. I think these three can be guiding force for our life. In every activity we do, everything will be fine. Because 99.99% of what happens is outside of our hand. It may be other people, circumstances, nature, God, so many factors. But we, in spite of all this, we ignore all of them and think we are doing everything. That is ultimate ignorance. I think so if these three cardinal principles, we will still be active. Then I will come to this growing. I think Kalyana said, because the organization grew, because Swami was not intended on growing it. It naturally grew, just like a tree grows. And see, if you take Krishna Avatara, Krishna built the Dwaraka, and he knew it's going to go, it could be submerged in the ocean. Was he worried? Absolutely not. Because he knows that is the way the world functions. But we would have been worried if our there is suddenly our home where we are living goes underground, there's an earthquake or something, we will be devastated. We should say, okay, we have fallen down, okay, let's build one again. Let's build one again. I think that should be our attitude whenever something which didn't happen, because every action of ours is never lost, it's never wasted. But the problem is we are worried about so many other losses. Swami says we are throwing away, we are losing our own life. He says early morning till evening, you all are just worried about your stomach. You want to make money, you want to earn livelihood. How much of our life is spent for the purpose of achieving the real goal of our life? So we are throwing away our entire life. But sometimes we are worried about pennies and dollars. These are some of the thoughts Swami always talks about. So I thought, I will just summarize my thoughts. And, some of those thoughts came up as all of you were talking. So the interaction was very good. I hope some of the questions at least have been answered to some extent. If not, Swami has to, it is not in our hands. That's also, I did my, for my own self, I'm speaking for myself, thinking aloud. Sai Ram. I will open it up for any other comments. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, you have answered many doubts in my mind. Thank you.
Sai Ram, Sister Vijaya, please.
Sairam, Brother Aruno, everybody, thank you for crystallizing our thinking and thought process. I think for me, what I really got away from this session, so many things, but the practice, what I'm talking about is what am I going to go away and practice for this week? Is contentment, is the treasure that is won by the jnani. So I know it's a grace from God to get the contentment. This is not something I can work towards, but if my eye is there and says, how can I be content, no matter what life throws at me, and only think of it with Swami as the focus, as the intention, as the doer. I love that word, contentment. Sairam, thank you.
Sairam, Sister Sairam.
Sairam, that's the excellent the answer given my brother Aruno. We all are struggling to get the status of the lotus leaf, but it wouldn't be an overnight thing. We all have to practice and practice. Maybe one day we will achieve, and exactly the same thing in the contentment. I also thought myself, even though we think that we can make ourselves content to something, but unless otherwise God's will or God's grace, I think that stage of contentment, we cannot get it easily. That's my understanding too. And when we get into the stage of jnani, we will get it. Up until now, it's really hard to get into contentment. That's my thinking also. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, Sister Sairam. Yes, Brother Tasam.
So Sairam, it's a small addition. So if you train your mind, because if the mind and the five senses are not working together, then we're going to be in trouble. So mind is the head of the five senses. So if we train the mind, then automatically the five senses going to be under control. Then we don't need to go through any issues. Thank you.
Sairam, brother. Thank you.
Sairam.
So it's any other thoughts? It's 4:20. So yes, Sairam Kalyani, go
I just
ahead.
have another question, just a couple of questions about the words. When Swami says both the Swarupa, the Swabhava of the Atma guarantee that it is unaffected, I'm not sure if we covered this, but what exactly is the Swarupa and the Swabhava of the Atma?
I also wanted to ask that question. I mean, Swarupa of the Atma and Swabhava of the Atma. Swarupa is he is with the Akara, with the form and formless also. And Swabhava is, he is beyond all the three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So that's what I understand from this sentence. I don't know whether I'm correct or not. Please correct me. Sairam.
Sairam Auntie, I think I also agree with what you're saying. So when Swami uses the word, Swami always uses the word Swarupa to denote the real self, the real form, which is formlessness, if you want to put it that way. Okay. When he says talk about form, he would say Nama Rupa. That is the external forms which we are assigned with. But whenever he uses the word Swarupa, but the real form, which is formlessness, if you want to. I think that's my understanding. Same thing holds with Swabhava also. Basically, God is formless and qualityless. Nirguna, Nirakara. So that is, Nirakara is his Swarupa and Nirguna is his Swabhava. Auntie, you are muted, Auntie.
Sometimes when we give a form to Sakara, Sakara Swarupa is also there.
Yes.
And we worship that form with this thing.
Qualities also, some.
With qualities also. Sometimes we worship that also. So that is Atma. But Swami here is very particular about the formless and the quality, attributeless of Atma. And he's Asanga, not of the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a correct translation for Asanga? Not of the world?
Yeah. Sangha means having company, having friends, having this thing. Sangha. Asanga is
So,
not a. Yeah.
Asanga is Nissangatvam.
Nissangatvam.
Means without any company, you are not of the world.
Of the world.
So you don't have any company, like you don't have any attachments to
Sangha is actually you're bound, so you can say, or you are keeping company. It can also be Nissangatva, means you're not bound to anything.
Attached to anything. That will also
be attached, yes.
Okay.
I think 423, that's okay. That Kalyani, any covered?
And then it says it is uninfluenced by anything that is not Atma.
Anatma, okay. I think Swami would have used. Auntie, is there Anatma, Swami?
Anatma, Swami. Atmaku anatma vastulato yetti pottunu kudurudu. That's what Swami is saying. Anatma.
It is not influenced by anything that is anatma?
Yeah. Arun, what is the translation for yetti pottunu? Pottu ante
Pottu?
Atmaku anatma vastulato yetti pottunu kudurudu. I think relationship, maybe.
I think relationship.
Relationship doesn't, yeah.
Sorry, what is that? How would you translate that in English?
It has, no, the Pottu, he says that
Pottu is holding in common, partnership,
partnership.
friendship, all that is.
Sangha is translated like that, I think.
Yes, alliance.
Alliance. Pottu.
Oh. So that sentence where it says it is uninfluenced by anything that is not Atma, it should be more like it does not keep company with anything.
Yeah, means it is not part of anything, it is not part of anything. You can put it that way.
Anatma vastuvalato. Anatma, he has nothing to do with anatma.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
It is not joined with anything. You can put,
Pottu. This is a new word for me. Pottu.
And it says hunger and thirst are qualities of prana.
Yeah.
So prana deals with our digestion. Is that right?
What did you say?
Does prana deal with our digestion? Is that why Swami is saying hunger and thirst are qualities of prana?
Yeah, so the physical body has something. Physical body has pain and pleasure. Prana has hunger and thirst as the ailments. And the mind has grief and delusion as the ailments.
All the three levels, physical, mental, as well as intellectual level also.
So these are dualities which we suffer from in each of our different sheets of our existence, a body, physical body, the pranic body, and so on. I think so. Swami, Auntie, Pottu, Swami's the Telugu translation, Avibhaktata.
Oh. So how does it apply here? Atmaku anatma vastulato yetti pottunu kudurudu.
See, Vibhakti is separation. Avibhaktata means opposite of separation.
Cherchi undedi.
Cherchu undedi. Exactly. Means being joined with something.
So
being connected, being joined.
Yeah.
So Atma is not joined or connected to Anatma.
With Anatma. Okay.
So I think, Sankhya, I think we have already covered. Swami is talking about the 20 tattvas, Panchabhutas, the Pancha Indriyas, all of Atma is separate from all of them. It's not really joined with them. Though it uses them, it is not of it.
Of it.
It is not of it.
In Sankhya philosophy, we get these 23 tattvas, isn't that?
Yes, Auntie.
Yeah, that's correct. Tattva, Atma is different from this.
Hi, brother. I have a question. We can discuss about the next week. So, if we are born with the karma mala, then we're going to do more karma. Then how we can reduce the karma mala to the zero and get the moksha? The mala has to become ready.
Brother, I think it'll be a homework for everyone.
Yes.
We can come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the next week.
Okay.
Because that is the only way we will break the karma mala for this session.
Yes.
Because it'll be a big discussion. But I think it's a very good question you have asked.
Prarabdha will go on and on. Karma mala. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's 4:29. We'll close with Samastaloka and okay, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Sai
Thank you so
Ram,
much,
brother.
Sai
Sai
Ram.
Ram. Thank you.